Hey everyone, this is Randy from BibleBuyingGuide.com. Today I'm taking a look at a KJV Goatskin Leather New Testament from Warner Bibles. It's very rare to get a high quality New Testament, but that's exactly what they've made. And the box it comes in looks exactly like something from Schuyler. That is thick and impressive, very impressive. All right, so we have goatskin leather, inside and out. That is a goatskin liner, goatskin outer cover with a pebbly green that looks like some of the old Cambridge Bibles. It looks really good. It's super soft. That is ultra soft. Perimeter stitching with a Celtic or Celtic cross, depending on where you're from and how you want to pronounce it, debossed onto the front. Then the spine includes silver printing. No spine ribs or raised hubs or anything like that, but it does have a couple of spine indications with silver printing. And I like the way they've done this. They have their name and the KJV, King James Version New Testament, printed so that it sits correctly when you're sitting it down on the shelf. And then KJV vertically. Looks interesting. So then a single red ribbon. That's a pretty red. I like that red. Here's the liner. Smooth goatskin. Ultra soft. You can flip this thing around and do all kinds of things with it. All right, so the liner itself, the tab is a little stiff. Several end sheets in the front that are excellent for giving it structure. No presentation page or anything like that. Published by Warner Bibles from Georgia. This was printed in Hong Kong, designed in USA. First edition. 40 GSM paper. It's not quite as opaque as I'd like. It does have a little bit of an off-white color, which I like a lot. You can see the opacity there. You can read on the other side. And then they have some information here about the fonts and the style, the design, everything that influenced this design. They've put a lot of thought into the design, and they give that information in the front, in the introduction. Here's information about the fonts. They use Kel's SD for the decorative Celtic titles, and those are the titles of the books and the titles of the chapter numbers. And then Day Roman font for the main text, and that is an 11.5 point font, and it is a red letter edition. And then end stone for the drop cap letters at the beginning of every chapter. Now they show here the end stone. It's a complement to Tyndale's New Testament in that the I and the J are identical symbols. To me, I prefer them to look like individual letters, like I and J, but they're not too difficult to figure out as you're reading. There's the title, more titles. You can see the show through there. It is a little bit more than I'd like. And then decorative drop caps, and then every book, every chapter has the title. And then another thing you'll notice in the text is that it has chapter and verse numbers in the text itself. Not just the verse number, but also the chapter number. And they were bold. At first, I thought I was not going to like that, but I was able to ignore it while reading, and then I found it very helpful while preaching. I did preach from this, and I had no issues preaching from it at all. The show-through did stand out just a little bit more than I'd like. It does have line matching, at least on most pages. About 8 or 9 words across. And then there's the red letter. 3/4 of an inch margin on both sides. Yeah, and the bottom also. Across the top, we have the word page in a faint text, and then the page number in the outer margin. And then just inside of that is the title of the book, and that spans both pages. So we see the Gospel according to St. Matthew, the Acts of the Apostles. So there's nothing here that tells you what chapter you're in, so having the chapter number in the text does help quite a bit. And there's some pages where the bottom line will not have a line there. I'm not sure why that is. There's at least one that has quite a bit of space. I'm not sure why that would be the case. That's just me being picky. And there are the drop caps. They look great. It takes 3 lines, which I actually like. I like 3 lines. That works really well. 2 does seem like it's a little bit too small, and 4 or 5 seems a little too large for me. I like the 3 lines. That looks really good. The text itself is dark enough, and that's a good dark font. The red is kind of a medium red, and the font design is not a heavy font, but it's dark enough to read. It does stay open well, but now in the first almost 100 pages, it will want to close because of that stiff tab. Right in there, around 90 pages, in that range, 90 to 95, that's where it'll stop trying to close on you. I'm sure that'll break in a little bit with more use. I've only used this for a couple of weeks, somewhere in that range. Week and a half to 2 weeks. The paper is easy to turn. No issues turning that paper. It's great to read from. And most of the time the show through is not a big deal. It's just noticeable in certain lighting. Certain lighting does make it look worse than others. Or it makes it stand out a little bit more than others. It's not bad. Not bad by any means. So this is the New Testament, and every paragraph is one full chapter. Rather than having paragraph breaks in the text, it's just one chapter. So here, for example, Luke 22, there are no paragraph breaks anywhere. That entire chapter is one paragraph. I would like to see more paragraph breaks. I think that would be nice. And the chapter and verse numbers in the text are the same color as the text. So here we have black letter, here we have red letter. This Bible is great for reading and carry. I carried this around for a little while. It's excellent for reading and carry. It's good to see a high quality New Testament. Then that's it. Several pages in the back that are blank. And that's it. No other tools or anything like that. So quite a few blank pages back here. These are the Bible pages. And then red letter in the book of Revelation. So let's see what we got here for size. Almost 5.5. A little under that. Just under 5.5. And just under 7 3/4, more like 7 5/8. And then 1 1/4 inch. And it weighs 1 pound and 2.7 ounces. So let's see how it compares to a few other Bibles. I only have one other King James New Testament, large print, single column paragraph. And that is the one from Trinitarian Bible Society. This one is a totally different price range. This one is paperback, sewn binding, thinner paper, 10.5 point font, a lot denser text, and it includes section headings and references. And then a few things in the back. It's black letter text, and then word list in the back, and then reading plan. But here's how they compare. In size, a lot smaller, but it's thinner paper. So there's how they look. And the text is obviously going to be different. Now, the paperback does not want to stay open well. It does not want to stay open easily, so I'm going to hold it open here. Here's how they compare. Now, for a couple of Bibles that are the same size, I'm going to compare the Schuyler for one. First of all, take a look at this box. They look like they were made by the same people, possibly. or similar, close. They were very similar. But here are the Bibles. Text blocks are almost the same size. The Warner is a little bit wider across, and the Schuyler is a little thicker. Both have silver gilt edges. Then the height is about the same. The leather on the Warner is a lot more flexible. It's also thinner. The one on the Schuyler is calfskin. It's a lot thicker. And red letter for both. So here's how they compare. Of course, it's going to be a lot smaller font and all that. Double column text. And we'll take a look at black letter. And then we can also see that both have the decorative drop caps. And there's how the drop caps compare. .28 GSM paper on the Schuyler versus the 40 GSM on the Warner. I do find the Schuyler paper to be a little bit more opaque than the Warner. But of course the Schuyler is going to be a full reference edition with the maps and all the extras. And then next is the Cambridge Cameo. This is also one of my favorites. The Schuyler and the Cambridge are both some of my favorites. About the same size footprint. Really close. The Cameo is a little thicker. Goatskin cover for both. The Cameo has a smoother grain, but it's pronounced. It's just not as pronounced as the Warner. And then this one is, the Cameo is a thicker leather and a little bit stiffer. And then just like the Schuyler, we have a double column red letter edition with 28 GSM paper. They both have about the same paper. And then there's how they compare, red letter and black letter. And of course, the Cambridge is also a reference edition with all the tools in the back. And its paper I do find to be a little bit more opaque as well. Although I'm not trying to overstate this. It's not, the Warner is not that, doesn't have that much show through, but it does have a little. And in some places where it's not lined up, the pages are, the show through is a little bit more obvious. And an example would be the first page of a book. But it's not bad. I don't want to say that it's bad. It's not. So that's my quick look at the Warner Goatskin New Testament. Warner Bibles. That is an elegant Bible. It looks elegant. It feels elegant. Some of the softest leather I've felt. Love that leather. I love the color. I love the look and feel. I love the text. The paper is, the color of the paper is great. I like that color. It's easy on the eye. Easy to read for a long period of time. The Bible itself is easy to hold. Easy to read from. I'm okay with the large, bold chapter and verse numbers in here. I thought I would really want them to not have the chapter number, but it does help. And it is easy enough to overlook. And that actually surprised me. I wouldn't mind if the paper is a little bit more opaque. And I wouldn't mind if it had a little bit less stiff cover. And also if it had paragraphs. Paragraph breaks would be really nice. But those are minor issues, I think. It's fine the way it is. I'm fine with it just the way it is. It's a good carry Bible, good reading Bible, good teaching Bible if you don't need to teach from anything from the Old Testament. When I say I preach from it, I, of course, always have another Bible there so that I have access to the Old Testament if I need to. But you know me, testing it out. But yeah, that's good for carrying and reading. So I'll place links in the notes so that you can make a purchase if you're interested. I'll also place a link to BibleBuyingGuide.com where you can see the written review with more detail, more information. And Warner Bibles did supply this in exchange for an honest review. And as always, all reviews are 100% honest. And thanks for watching. If you have any questions, let me know.